Hi everyone, my name is Paul Tunders and this is my program presentation on health and safety for working remotely. I felt this was a good topic to cover as it's something I'm sure many of us have dealt with over the last year and something that many in the workforce are going to continue to deal with in terms of their working lives. A little bit of a background on this subject. So, millions of Canadians, as I'm sure you're aware, have been forced to work remotely as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic since last March. Many of those have gone back to work, but there's still nearly 30 to 40% of the workforce still working remotely. And this seems to have caused a structural shift in where work is going to take place moving forward. Research has been done showing that nearly 20% of the working population will continue to work from home past the pandemic as we reach our new normal. That's definitely going to be based off of the type of position you're in. It obviously has to work with the tasks that you work with within the organization that you work for, and the and your supervisor's recommendations. So for the program description, the title is Health and Safety Training for Working Remotely. So for remotely, we're referring to working from home. The type of program, it's going to be online. It's going to be both synchronous and asynchronous. So meaning there will be portions of the program that will be done with a instructor at a specific set time and location online, and portions of the program that will be done asynchronous. So it's at the participants' leisure to work through those portions on their own time. And this is an employee training program. So it is going to be designed for organizations to implement for their employees who will be working remotely. This program is designed to work for any organization that has workers currently working remotely or will be having employees working remotely in the future. This program is designed for participants who are working remotely, so employees for different organizations that have been working remotely for a while or permanently, or are going to be continually working from home, and it's something new that has happened over the last year. As mentioned before, this is a hybrid synchronous and asynchronous program. So there's going to be two portions to it. There will be two synchronous virtual meetings that will occur with an instructor. These will be about 1 to 2 hours long. There will also be two asynchronous modules that the participants will need to complete. And these will be 2 to 3 hours long, and the participants complete those over a specified time frame of about 1 to 2 weeks, so they can work through the material on their free time. The location, it's going to be online. All of this will be done online, so the synchronous component will happen through a web conference or a Zoom meeting. This program is going to take a hybrid approach in terms of learning theory. So we'll be looking at both the experiential learning theory as well as transformational learning theory, and components of both of those theories will come up within the program. So within the program, there's going to be components of both concrete experience as well as reflective observation. The participants will be asked to conduct assessments of their remote work area pre and post. So they'll conduct and critique their current work area in their home prior to going through the course material and modules, and then they'll revisit their work area once they've gained all the knowledge that the modules have provided to them, and complete a final assessment on those after. So this will allow them to reflect on everything they've learned and implement it into their daily work practices. This will also involve active experimentation, so the participant will be asked to implement these learnings into their workspace. So not only will they be doing two assessments on their workspace, pre and post, but also after that second post assessment, they will go back and implement some of their learnings into their workspace. So they'll make changes, whether it's their seating arrangement, their site ergonomics, so where the angle at which they're looking at their computer, the angle at which their arms are reaching the keyboard, and so on. This is also going to take into consideration the transformational learning theory. So by having participants conduct a pre and post learning assessment of their work area and implementing these strategies learned, they'll be able to be active participants in their learning and go through the steps to gain a new understanding being implemented into their real live workspace. And as we mentioned, part of this is asynchronous, so it is going to be self-directed learning for 2 portions of the program. And these will be done through modules where they will be asked to go through different readings, different slideshows prepared by the instructor, and so on. So we also have to look at the different learning approaches that will be taken in the program. So it will be a hybrid. We'll see both traditional and pragmatic, and it will also be within the constructivism and cognitivism realm. So when we're looking at traditional, pragmatic, traditional would be in the sense of a step-by-step learning program, and we'll see aspects of that as it will be planned to follow the steps working as a progression. However, we will be taking into consideration where the learner is in terms of their learning. So as the program progresses, we will keep an assessment of where each of the participants are in terms of their learning and meet them where they are at in terms of their progress so that we're not moving too far ahead of anyone in the course. So in terms of constructivism and cognitivism, the program adopts a hybrid of both of these, as participants will be provided with a base of information, knowledge and skills. This will relate to their cognitivism, and they'll be expected to use these base to analyze and construct their own remote workspace as discussed previously. So they'll take that knowledge and skills that they've gained through the modules, and they will use those to further refine their own workspace in their home. For the next 3 slides, we'll go over the goal statements as well as the program objectives. So first we have to develop a comprehensive program that informs employees working remotely of the health and safety concerns they need to be aware of within their work environment and the skills required to create a safe workspace. Some of the objectives that fall under this statement include to offer virtual hybrid combination courses that employees, either mandated by their organization or on their own, can access to be prepared and create a safe workspace at home, and to ensure knowledge and skill retention and application through synchronous classes and virtual workspace assessment. Second goal statement is to develop a program that benefits employees and families forced to work from home during and after COVID-19. The objectives that fall under this goal include to provide information on the difference of working from in-office to in-home and the safety concerns they need to be aware of, and to provide resources for employees to utilize when working from home with other family members being home. And the third and final goal statement is to provide a health and safety training resource for remote workers and organizations switching employees to remote work to be utilized as a preventative measure. The objectives that fall under this goal include to offer a hybrid, both synchronous and asynchronous combination of courses that organizations and individuals can utilize for those working remotely from home, and to ensure all participants pass the course with a score of 80% on the written test as well as the virtual workspace assessment. These 3 goals that the program will be based off of and the objectives that fall underneath it are developed and designed based off of a needs assessment done on the need for employees to have better understanding of the health and safety risks that are associated with working from home. In this slide, we'll go over some of the learning objectives for one of the specific program objectives that we covered through the goal statements. This program objective we'll look at is to ensure knowledge and skill retention and application through synchronous classes and virtual workspace assessment. So learning objectives that fall under this program objective include to define workplace health and safety and the risks associated with working from home, to demonstrate understanding of the knowledge gained through the course on remote work, health, and safety. So to be able to apply the information they learn throughout the course into their own workspace. To implement the knowledge gained from the course into a remote workspace. So similar to the one above, this is looking at the actual implementation of the knowledge gained. And to be able to critique current remote work environment prior to and following completing the knowledge component of the course. So participants will be asked to complete a critique or assessment of their workspace, both prior to completing any of the learning modules, as well as after completing the learning modules once they've gained all the information. And we'll see the difference in their assessment following the program. In this slide, we will look at the 4 learning goals that we previously discussed in the last slide and the instructional plan that will be used to facilitate these learning goals. So the first one is define workplace health and safety and the risk associated with working from home. So the main things that we're looking to emphasize in here is what is health and safety and how it associates with working from home. And make sure that people realize, or the participants realize, that it is still important to consider health and safety when working from home. To cover the physical ergonomics that can come into play when working from home and potentially cause chronic pain or injury, as well as the soft ergonomics. So soft ergonomics would relate to the website that they're using or the program they're using online, mostly to do with what is on the computer or technology that they're using. A few ways that we'll go about meeting this learning goal is first preparing a video presentation. This will be asynchronous, so it will be a video presentation prepared by the instructor ahead of time for the participants to go through on their own time. We'll also provide a list of readings that provide additional information on top of the video presentation, as allowing the participants to discuss their readings further. We'll also provide a link to a video describing the risks of working from home and potential ergonomic factors that play a role. Second learning objective is to explain the risks associated with working remotely and steps that can be taken to reduce risk. So the points we want to emphasize in this learning goal are the risks themselves. So we want the participants to have a complete understanding of all the risks that are present to them from working from home and how they can occur and how they can go about avoiding them. They should understand that the common possible chronic and acute injuries that are associated with working from home, for example, carpal tunnel syndrome, and then obviously taking steps to reduce these risks from working from home. In order to meet this learning goal, we would again go through, the participants will have a video presentation prepared for them. The participants will rate the risks on potential harm on a scale of 1 to 5, so meaning how harmful, for example, a specific risk could be to their wellness. And that would be more harmful would be on the 5 end and less harmful on the 1. And then we'd also have the participants use the knowledge learned to adapt to their own workspace. The third is to critique current remote work environment prior to and following completing the knowledge component of the course. So the main points we want to emphasize here, again, this is associated with the list of criteria for assessing a workplace, looking at ergonomics, both soft and hard ergonomics. We will provide a demonstration of an optimal workspace, so we'll provide a layout whether it's through image, video, of how workspace would be set up optimally for reduced health and safety risk. And then we'd also look at the regular changes that can be made to the workspace to reduce these risks. So what are the most common things we see ergonomically, whether it's bad posture, bad chair, bad angle from eyes to technology, computer, so on. And the way that we would meet this goal, again, is through providing the participants with a list of criteria to assess workspace information on an ideal remote workspace, and have the participants use this information to assess their own workspace. This is again going to happen before the learning component as well as after they complete the learning modules. Finally, the last learning goal will be to construct a safe physical work environment utilizing knowledge from the course. So the points we want to emphasize here is, again, a list of tools that can be utilized when developing an optimal workspace. So whether it's a set of ergonomic criteria they should be looking for, both on the physical end as well as on the technological end, looking for optimal sound levels, optimal light levels, and so on. And then also providing tools that they can provide to their family with information to ensure that they work in respect your workspace. So this is a component that we often forget about, but we do need to discuss when working from home with our families to ensure that they are not intruding on your workspace or causing any potential harm to yourself while you're working from home. In order to accomplish this learning goal, we'll provide a 30-minute virtual session. So this will be done synchronously with an instructor, and this will develop a safe workspace, provide recommendations for participants individually. So in the next couple slides, we'll be looking at transfer of learning plans. So how the information or course material is transferred between the instructor and the participants and back from the participants to the instructor. So there's a couple aspects. We want to look at what was done before the program, what happens during, and as well what happens after. So before the program begins, a needs analysis will be conducted involving potential participants, supervisors, and organizations. This is where we will assess the need for a program of this nature. We'll ensure program is planned in order to meet program objectives and learning goals for each module, and prepare a presentation for potential organizations to display the program and how it can benefit them. So during, the program will be a hybrid program, so both synchronous and asynchronous, and this provides both the flexibility of the asynchronous portions as well as the one-on-one time provided by the synchronous component. This program is divided into 5 components. So first, there's a synchronous session with the teacher. This is where the teacher and student will go over and complete an assessment of their current work area. This will be followed by 2 asynchronous information sessions. Then there will be a second synchronous session where the participants will then complete another assessment of their work area. And finally, they will implement their new knowledge and learnings from the course into their workspace by taking in the recommendations and making changes to their physical workspace as well as the technology in terms of soft ergonomics. We'll use a variety of learning media, including PowerPoint, video, webinars, readings, and virtual meetings. And we'll also provide a list of resources for the participants to consult for additional learning, whether they need it during the course or later on. So after the program is completed, the participants will have used information from the course to create a safe and ergonomically sound workspace in their home. And we will encourage organizations to subscribe to health and safety training for all new remote employees moving forward. So when they bring on new employees that will be working remotely, we'll strongly encourage them to sign on with us to provide them with the same training that we've provided to their other employees. We'll also provide contact information for organizations to reach out for any further health and safety training for remote work. We will be looking to complete a modified program that should be completed once per year following this program for remote employees to refresh on any health and safety aspects that have changed over the last year in terms of remote work. And we'll update the program objectives and learning goals based on feedback by the participants and organizations. So any feedback that is received, we will then assess the program and make any changes that seem feasible at that time. And finally, we'll look at the evaluation plans for the course for each of the learning goals we have gone over in the last few slides. So the first one, to define workplace health and safety and the risks associated with working from home. This will be evaluated through both formative and summative assessment, through module quizzes, so quizzes done at the end of each learning component, and a summative assessment at the end where a full test or quiz will be conducted on everything learned throughout the program. As well as the pre-program knowledge will be assessed through the pre-course assessment, where the participants will assess their learning environment in terms of its optimization for health and safety. The second learning goal, to demonstrate understanding of the knowledge gained through the course on remote work, health and safety. Again, this will be tested through the module and cumulative tests. And as well as the participants will demonstrate this knowledge through the final workspace assessment. So where they are taking the information they've gained through the course and applying it to reassessing their workspace prior to making changes. And then they'll also implement any information and knowledge that they gained throughout the course into revising and demonstrating a new workspace that is more optimized ergonomically. To implement knowledge gained from the course into remote workspace, again, this will be assessed through the module and complete course quizzes. And then it will also be demonstrated in the final workspace demonstration. And the last learning goal, to critique current remote work environment prior to and following completing the knowledge component of the course. This will be done through a formative assessment, so module quizzes, and the pre-program workspace demonstration, as well as the post-course demonstration. A summative assessment will be done on this learning goal through the full course quiz or test and the final workspace demonstration. A few techniques for collecting evaluation data will be used throughout the program. First, there will be, as discussed, module and cumulative tests. And these will be done by participants at the end of each module to ensure information retention, and a complete course quiz at the end of the course to check for complete understanding of information. A grade of 80% is required on each of these to proceed. The participants will be able to retake the quizzes if they do not pass the 80%. Pre- and post-workspace evaluations will be done, where the participants will complete remote workspace evaluations prior to completing the program and at the end of the program to understand participant learning and progress. And finally, a practical evaluation will be done at the end of the course, where the participants will use the knowledge and skills and information gained from the program and put them into work practically into their own workspace. So making changes to their workspace based off of the ergonomic criteria provided to them. And this again will be marked and will need a required grade of 80%. If that 80% is not met, they are able to reassess their workspace and do another grading assessment with the instructor. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.